Good morning and welcome to KidNuz, sponsored today by Bamboo Learning. I'm Tori. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020, and we begin with a major problem for Major League Baseball. At least 14 members of the Marlins, 12 of them players, have now tested positive for the virus. The results rolled in late Sunday and early Monday on the heels of the team's series against the Phillies in Philadelphia. And it forced the Marlins to stay in Pennsylvania and cancel last night's home opener against the Orioles. It also prompted the Yankees to scrub their scheduled game with the Phillies because they would have had to use the guest clubhouse just occupied by infected players. The larger question, if this is what happened after just one weekend on the field, what does it mean for the rest of the season? USA Today's Bob Nightingale calls it baseball's worst nightmare and says he won't be surprised if more players now decide to opt out rather than risk their health and that of their families. There's also a new COVID case in the White House. President Trump's national security advisor just tested positive, making him the highest-ranking official infected at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Sources say Robert O'Brien's symptoms are mild, he's self-isolating, and that there is no risk to either the president or the vice president. On the positive side, Johns Hopkins University announced yesterday that cases in the hardest-hit states may be starting to plateau or even drop. And there's a milestone to report in the race for a vaccine. Drug maker Moderna entered Phase 3 of its trial in 90 different locations across the United States. The first of 30,000 Americans to take part was inoculated in Savannah, Georgia. All told, there are 150 vaccines in development, 25 of which are already being tested in humans. Daisy the St. Bernard is said to be a little embarrassed, but otherwise just fine following her ordeal on an English mountaintop. The massive 121-pound mutt was on a hike when her back legs gave out and she refused to move. Soon, a rescue mission began for a breed that usually does the rescuing. St. Bernards have long been trained to use their great sense of direction and resistance to cold to save stranded mountain hikers. According to the Smithsonian Magazine, they've come to the aid of at least 2,000 people in the Alps alone. But this time, it was a St. Bernard who needed help. It took 5 hours, 16 people, a stretcher, and lots of treats to bring her safely down. Even so, the rescue team said it's obvious that Daisy the dog feels bad she didn't live up to the image of her cousins bouncing across the snow with barrels of brandy around their necks. NASA's liftoff to the Red Planet is right around the corner. Barring another delay, the Perseverance rover will blast off from Florida early Thursday morning on board an Atlas V rocket. There's a 2-hour window of opportunity that opens at 4:50 a.m. Eastern, which the space agency will stream live. Perseverance is the most advanced robot NASA has sent to explore the surface of Mars. Once it sets down in the Jezero crater next February, the rover will begin a mission to find water and signs of ancient life. But it's not going it alone. Strapped beneath Perseverance, which is about the size of a car, is an experimental helicopter named Ingenuity that will be the first to attempt flight on another planet. From high above to way down below, the grandson of famed ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau is reportedly hoping to build on his family's legacy by building what would essentially be the International Space Station 60 feet underwater off the coast of Curacao in the Caribbean Sea. The research facility of the future would be the size of a large house, comfortably fit 12 people for weeks or months at a time, and include a laboratory, a video studio for broadcasts, living and sleeping quarters, and even a hydroponic greenhouse so that its aquanauts can have fresh food. The project is named for Proteus, the Greek sea god who was known to be a keeper of knowledge. That's it for KidNuz. Now our KidNuz quiz. What team just announced at least 14 cases of the coronavirus? The Florida Marlins, after playing the Phillies in Pennsylvania. How many people are taking part in Phase 3 of Moderna's vaccine trial? 30,000. How many rescuers were involved in saving a stranded St. Bernard? "16, and it still took them 5 hours. Where does Jacques Cousteau's grandson want to build a new research facility? 60 feet below the surface of the Caribbean Sea. In one for the road. Here in the U.S., many cities and counties are now requiring masks. The penalty for not wearing one, however, is not always clear. In Hong Kong, there's no guesswork. Amid a third wave of infections there, the territory has just declared face coverings mandatory both inside and outside of public places, with a fine of $645 for those caught without. Before we go, we have KidNuz birthday shout-outs for Emily in North Las Vegas, Nevada, James in Georgetown, Texas, Adeline in Midlothian, Virginia, Samuel in Sacramento, California, and James in Duval, Washington. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you back here for more KidNuz tomorrow morning.